You're standing in line at the grocery store, suddenly self-conscious about everything in your cart. You post a photo online and refresh obsessively to see how many likes it gets. You change your outfit 3 times because you're worried about what people might think. You avoid speaking up in meetings because strangers might judge your ideas. You're living your life through the imaginary eyes of people who don't even matter to you. I'm Bear, and today I'm going to explain why you're addicted to approval from strangers and how this invisible audience is controlling your choices. The invisible audience. Psychologists call it the imaginary audience, the feeling that everyone is watching and judging your every move. This isn't paranoia. It's a normal part of human psychology that gets amplified in modern life. Your brain evolved in small tribes where social judgment actually mattered for survival. Being rejected by the group could mean death, so your nervous system treats a stranger's disapproval like a life-threatening emergency. But today's world is full of strangers whose opinions have zero impact on your actual life. The person behind you in line, the cashier at the store, the random commenter on social media. None of these people affect your career, relationships, or well-being. Yet their hypothetical judgment controls your behavior as if they were life or death gatekeepers. The social media amplification. Social media has weaponized our need for approval. Every post becomes a performance for an audience of acquaintances, strangers, and people you barely remember from high school. You curate your life to impress people you wouldn't even have coffee with. The like button becomes a drug dispenser, delivering tiny hits of validation from people whose opinions you don't actually value. The algorithm makes it worse by showing you who viewed your content, making you hyper-aware of invisible judges. You start wondering what your ex's new partner thinks of your vacation photos, or whether that person from work approves of your political posts. You're seeking approval from people you don't even want in your life. The status anxiety engine. Approval addiction often stems from status anxiety, the fear that you're not impressive enough, successful enough, or worthy enough. You use strangers' approval as external validation that you're doing okay in life. If random people think you look good, you must be attractive. If your post gets likes, you must be interesting. If people don't stare at you weirdly, you must be normal. This outsourcing of self-worth to strangers is exhausting and unreliable. You're constantly performing instead of living, seeking evidence of your value from people who have no way to actually assess it. The comparison trap. When you care what strangers think, you're constantly comparing yourself to them. You wonder if you're dressed appropriately compared to everyone else in the room. You question if your car is nice enough relative to others in the parking lot. You worry if your lifestyle measures up to what you see others posting online. This comparison is based on limited, curated information. You're comparing your behind-the-scenes reality to other people's highlight reels, judging your worth based on incomplete data from people who don't know your story, values, or circumstances. The authenticity cost. Living for strangers' approval costs you your authenticity. You modify your personality, appearance, and choices to avoid potential judgment from people you'll never see again. You wear clothes that aren't your style, express opinions that aren't your own, and make decisions based on how they'll look to others rather than how they align with your values. This creates a gap between who you are and who you present to the world. Over time, you might lose touch with your authentic preferences because you've spent so much time performing for imaginary audiences. The control illusion. Seeking approval from strangers gives you the illusion of control over how others perceive you. If you can just dress right, say the right things, and present the perfect image, maybe you can avoid judgment and criticism. But this control is largely imaginary. People will judge you based on their own biases, experiences, and moods, regardless of how perfectly you perform. You can't control what others think, but you can exhaust yourself trying. The energy you spend managing others' perceptions could be better invested in pursuing goals and relationships that actually matter. The paradox of popularity. Here's the cruel irony. Desperately seeking approval from strangers often makes you less likable to the people who actually matter. Authentic confidence is attractive. Desperate need for validation is not. When you're constantly performing for approval, genuine people can sense the inauthenticity and pull away. Meanwhile, you're wasting emotional energy on strangers while neglecting the relationships that could actually provide meaningful connection and support. Building internal validation. Replace external validation with internal validation. Instead of asking, "What will people think?" ask, "What do I think? What aligns with my values? What makes me feel authentic and proud?" Your own approval should carry more weight than a stranger's because you actually know yourself. Practice making small choices based on your preferences rather than others' potential reactions. Wear what you like. Express your genuine opinions. Pursue interests that excite you regardless of how they appear to others. The selective audience. Not all opinions are created equal. Create a hierarchy of whose thoughts actually matter to you. Your close friends, family members, mentors, and people you respect should have more influence over your choices than random strangers or casual acquaintances. Bear's final word. You have limited emotional energy and attention. Spending it on managing strangers' perceptions is like investing your retirement savings in Monopoly money. It feels important in the moment, but provides no real return. The people whose opinions truly matter will appreciate your authenticity more than your performance. Your worth isn't determined by strangers' approval. Your happiness doesn't depend on impressing people you don't even know. Stop living for applause from empty seats. The only approval you truly need is your own.